Jurassic World Rebirth is finally here. It takes many, many swings, big and small. And man, it misses on a lot. Hey everyone, my name is Cole, and welcome back to Cole Protocol Films. So, you might be wondering, why are you reviewing this movie a week and a half early? That is because I went to AMC's Unseen Movie Screening they do typically every Monday, and this week's movie was Jurassic World Rebirth. Some of you might know this, but Gareth Edwards is one of my favorite directors. I actually made a history video on him, talking about how he got to this point in his career. This was, of course, before the creator launched. But overall, he is a director I have a lot of respect for, especially when it comes to his blockbuster scale and how he frames his action. And let me tell you, Jurassic World Rebirth is a Gareth Edwards movie. It has that blockbuster action I want, that great sense of scale, but man, the writing is a Gareth Edwards movie. And as someone who believes that he is a great director, I know one of his biggest flaws, and writing is that. And I know he did not write the script of this movie, but for some reason, he just has bad luck or something. If you don't know, David Koepp, the original director of the first Jurassic Park movie, returned to write Jurassic World Rebirth. And something that is pretty unheard of is that this movie was fast-tracked into production. Within a few weeks and months of reading the script, they had a director, they had a cast, they had production, they had a schedule, everything. They wanted this movie. They saw something in this script. And I don't know what they saw, guys. David Koepp is not a director I am really fond of. Personally, I don't think he's written really anything good in maybe 15, 20 years. I'm not trying to be an asshole. It's just from movies I've watched that are written by him, I am just not really impressed with him. But I was going in with slightly an open mind because I like Gareth Edwards as a director. And I don't know what these studio executives saw, guys. This script is rough. Let me tell you, I don't remember the last time I saw so many moments in the theater where you could hear a pen drop from the attempts at humor. There were moments, oh my god, where there were moments that this movie tried to be funny. You could hear crickets. It was embarrassing. I got secondhand embarrassment. I was just like shrinking into my chair. Like I looked at my wife like you could hear someone cough in the back of the theater. It was bad. And as I mentioned, this is a Gareth Edwards movie, and for some reason, I don't know what it is, but no matter who writes these movies, this man, I don't know what it is, he does not like his characters acting human. And of course, Jurassic Park and World movies aren't about the humor. I'm just saying, you know, it was rough. Every attempt at humor failed. So many moments where it really tried to land a joke, and there were some extended like 20 or 30 second periods where it kept prolonging a joke. No one was laughing and it kept going with it. Secondhand embarrassment. Some of the most embarrassing, filmmaking I've seen in a while. But other than the humor, this is the best way I can explain this movie.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
It insists upon itself.
What does that even mean?
It takes forever getting in. You spend like 6.5 hours, and then, I can't even get through. I can't even finish a movie. I've never even seen the ending.
One of Gareth Edwards' good friends is Peter Jackson. That's right, the man behind Lord of the Rings, one of the greatest directors of all time. The man who literally goes and makes documentaries nowadays because he honestly has nothing more to prove. That Peter Jackson. Where is I going to this? Jackson once made this little movie called King Kong. You might have heard of it. Well, that movie is typically known for having an insane first hour of the movie, where it's just exposition, it is characters trying to get to this point, and you're saying, oh my god, where is the big monkey? Where is all this spectacle that I'm hoping for? After an hour of that film, you're finally on the island, the plot and the movie starts feeling like it's going. That is the exact issue that Jurassic World Rebirth experiences. This movie clocks in at, I believe, about 2 hours and 14 minutes. And my god, I don't think you guys will actually see the island until maybe an hour in. And good lord, is the exposition brutal. There are moments where this script really insists upon itself, like I mentioned. There are moments where you have a character yapping and talking about all this different terminology and throwing things at you, explaining things, not showing you things. One of the many errors that the screenplay possesses. There's also many continuity errors that were really bizarre, where I don't know how the studio executives read the script and were like, why is that there? And maybe that was the fault of Gareth Edwards or the editing team. I have no clue, but it really threw me off and threw me for a loop because you kind of have this moment. One of the first big themes that this movie tries to present is that we have oversaturated the world with dinosaurs. We have led them to go extinct. No one cares about dinosaurs anymore. And it kind of goes into this POV perspective for the maybe creators of the film, the executives saying, we messed up. people don't care anymore. We want to make them care. That was kind of the mission statement that this film, the script, was presenting to you. And when you set that up as a writer or director, you name it, you kind of set this idea where it's like, okay, now I'm expecting something. And this movie, like I mentioned, terrible pacing. That first hour, you could probably cut out. There's better ways you could handle it. And like I mentioned, the exposition. It's not just characters rambling on like it's Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, telling you everything that you already kind of know or can expect. It is moments where you get exposition dumps of characters' background history instead of you actually experiencing it. So two of the main characters that I want to go into, by the way, this entire review is non-spoiler. Sorry I didn't mention that at the beginning. Two of the main characters. One, played by Scarlett Johansson, one of the greatest actresses of all time. Her character is named Zora, I believe. And the other character played by Mahershala Ali. I'm very, very sorry if I butchered that. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. His character is named Duncan. Early on in the first act, they have this exposition dump where they tell each other their backstories, even though they both know it. But of course, the audience doesn't know, so David Koepp writes it into the screenplay. And it has this moment where it's just these two characters crying and telling you about their backstory. And I couldn't help but think, man, instead of all this exposition, this build up to create this almost Avengers team of characters to team up and go to this island for their mission, why didn't you show the background of Zora's character, which she mentions she has a lot of PTSD from, I believe, a lover or a friend who died in a car bomb when they were serving, I believe, in the military. You could have had this moment where you showed that actual car bomb, this character losing this person that they care about, and then that really leans on more to the PTSD factor. And then Duncan's character, showing him having to leave his child, knowing that he has to go on this mission. We can imply as an audience. I just don't know how you mention that someone has a difficult relationship with their child, and then you have another family present in the screenplay, and you do nothing with that. That's just a complete failure in my eyes. I feel like they overcomplicated it by telling us, okay, here's all their backstory, but guess what? We're never going to use it ever again. And that's what's frustrating to me, because you insist upon these feelings, you insist upon these characters, you insist upon their backstory, then you didn't go anywhere with it. Something that I've noticed about Gareth Edwards films is that they always have pieces of the puzzle, but they never place them where they should go. And when you have this exposition of these characters' backstory, instead of letting me have a spiritual connection to them, you just kind of dump it on me, and I can't connect with that. And then these moments, for some reason in this film, I don't know what the executives were thinking, because this screenplay is really poor. After this first act, you never see this PTSD factor, you never hear about this estranged daughter, and the moments are there. If something went wrong with this whole car bomb thing, if she was serving the military, you could have done that because it is a Jurassic Park and World movie. Of course something is going to go wrong. You could have tackled that PTSD. You could have had her maybe freeze up in a moment where she could have saved someone. There's so much you could do with that. And Duncan's character, there is a super annoying family that has a dumb side plot, where it's like this father, two of his daughters, and one of the daughter's boyfriends. You could have done like a Train to Busan moment where you have Duncan's character look at what a true man, what a true father is supposed to be in their children's life. That could have been such a good moment. Like, I get goosebumps thinking about what you could have potentially done with that. That could have created a lot more tension, as audiences would actually want him to survive, would want him to redeem himself and make it home to love his daughter, to be there in her life. That could have worked so damn well. But these two character motivations, these two backgrounds for the two main characters of your film, they're completely forgotten after that first act. The first act's like an hour long because you don't get to the island until like probably hour and 15 into the movie. And it's so frustrating because then this movie just becomes your typical action movie. And that's when the screenplay fails in many other aspects, because there's continuity errors. There's characters that swim faster than boats. They all manage to meet up in the exact same spot on this huge island for no apparent reason. No character goes on their own journey. Everyone's always together as a team, as a family. There's moments that are just super convenient, and I know it's an action movie, but man, it is just very unfortunate. And something that I felt was very special about the original Jurassic Park is that you kind of knew like some characters were probably going to be safe, but there were moments where you could at least have your expectations subverted a bit watching characters die. And I'm not one of those people where it's like, oh, there needs to be so much death and blood and all that. That's what a lot of people bitch about 28 years later, which I just made a review about. Go check that out, because it's an awesome movie and people are babies. There are moments where there are really great action set pieces in this movie, but I am completely taken out of it because I'm like, they're not going to kill a kid. They don't have the cojones to kill a kid. You're putting this kid in like two scary situations. Okay. you're not gonna kill him. I don't care. This isn't The Blob. You know, great movie. Great, like, normalize killing kids in movies. No. But a lot of these action set pieces, they're a great spectacle, but they don't really push the plot forward at all. They're just kind of there, so you kind of go sit in the theater and pay for a ticket. And that's the unfortunate part, is that the original Jurassic Park movie had so much purpose behind every sequence, and this kind of feels like you're checking off side plots to get to the third act. And that's ultimately what this movie is. It's basically a video game where you know every character is going to be safe. There's not a very high body count in this movie. I'm not trying to spoil it, but every single death in this movie is a side character. I really don't think you're going to be that surprised by characters that die in this movie. The film just constantly retreads the same ground that we've already went over and does it worse than any other film to date. It's the safest direction that this movie could have went in, and that's very unfortunate because you have this idea of, we failed people, you know, we oversaturated the market, we're sorry, here, this is our apology to you. And you kind of just go out with this very underwhelming movie that doesn't say much. It's very awkward. You try nostalgia bait, playing the music sometimes, trying to mimic the ending of the first Jurassic Park movie, where it feels so ingenuine because of the slop you just gave me the hours prior. And I just couldn't help walking out saying, damn, that was a Gareth Edwards movie. And I hate that because I love him. I feel like I have such a connection to the way he films. All the behind the scenes footage I watch constantly because I see so much of myself in him as a director. And I don't know what it is, but this man, every movie he's in, there's so many avoidable mistakes that I feel like anyone of common sense should be able to point out and adjust, and they just aren't. And he's one of those directors, similar to Zack Snyder, who is also one of my biggest role models. You're right there. You're on the cusp of being one of the best directors of all time, but you can't get it right, or you can't notice these tiny mistakes, and it's so frustrating because I wanted this to be good. I didn't care about seeing the movie. I cared about seeing Gareth Edwards, and it's so frustrating to me as someone who is an aspiring filmmaker, seeing someone that they idolize kind of go out and they're so close to making something so good, and it's upsetting to me. And, you know, a big thing with Gareth Edwards is the visual aspect. In this movie, I saw videos of it was recorded on film. I was shocked when I was watching it because I thought it was digital. I did not think the movie looked very good. The CGI looked pretty outdated. The original Jurassic Park still looks better. Maybe they just didn't use any practical effects at all, but I just was watching this, maybe because it was mostly in broad daylight for most of the CGI sequences, but I just was not impressed. You know, you have these cool set pieces where the dinosaurs kind of look out of place. Something just felt kind of off about them, along with, of course, the action sequences having no suspense or reason for me to care at all, because none of these characters I know are going to be in any peril whatsoever. It just takes you out because you feel like you're supposed to experience life. You're supposed to experience the species that always finds a way, and you're like, someone made that. Someone was just sitting in a studio and, like, you know, just started making some CGI. Like, I'm not looking at an actual dinosaur. I'm not feeling immersed in this magical world that we're supposed to feel for the last 50 or so years. Whenever, I can't remember when the first Jurassic Park movie came out at this point because we have so many goddamn movies. And it's just so frustrating, you know, to watch something like this. From everything I mentioned, from the screenplay being glazed to hell by the studio and being one of the worst screenplays of the entire franchise, to the visuals being very lacking, and to the characters who are all horrible and annoying, and I kept wanting many of them to die, and they wouldn't because the script had no balls and couldn't kill anyone, and just underwhelming third act sequence that they kept hyping up, and goddamn, I have never seen such a mid-movie really insist upon itself. I really wanted to try and like it, guys. I didn't have really any expectations other than I wanted to see one of my favorite creators today, and I found myself so disappointed, and I hate that. Maybe it's because I'm coming off the high of watching 28 Years Later, which is a modern horror masterpiece. Maybe it's because I'm feeling optimistic about the art of cinema nowadays, but man, this is one of those movies that reminds you, yeah, don't be optimistic. But I'm very curious to see what Gareth Edwards does next. Of course, there was rumors that he'd be doing a Thor movie, but I really hope George Miller gets attached to that because I want Chris Hemsworth to be happy. But man, Gareth Edwards, I don't know what direction you're going in. I would like you to get a good writer. Maybe go make a DC movie or something, you know, that'd be nice. Or maybe go, I know the Alien Predator franchise probably needs some director help. Go do that, but just anything, just go get a good writer because you're so close, man. You're so close. I love you. Personally, don't go see this movie. I think that there's better experiences 28 years later that you can go see in the theater on the big screen. Don't go watch How to Train Your Dragon. You know, maybe go watch this instead of that. I don't know. But I will be very disappointed if people let this go make $1 billion because it's just the same slop that we're getting every single time. They try and have that message of that this will be different, that we need to be better. It's just the same old thing, guys. It's really nothing special, and if you're really wanting to go see it, if you really think it's not that bad, the whole point of this movie, the whole reason that everything kind of happens is because a Snickers product placement kicks off the entire movie. Like and subscribe. I'm not joking. Like and subscribe. Go check out my other videos. Go check out my new short film Metamorph I dropped over a month ago. It's getting a little more views and I really appreciate it. But yeah, just thanks for watching. Sorry for yapping all this. I don't even know where I am. So have a good one, guys. Peace.